It is 6:02 in the Central Time Zone in the United States. It is cold as hell. It is 0 degrees. On the other side of the world, Mike, how's it going?
It's 1:02 in the afternoon on a Friday, and it's a balmy 19 degrees Celsius, the real way to measure temperature. Um, so yeah, not too shabby. Probably too hot for a hoodie, but see how we go. How's life?
Life is ever flowing and adjusting. Welcome everyone to Exit Zero. My name is Jarrod. I am a podcaster and voiceover artist. This, of course, is Mike Hartigan. You are on his channel. You are obviously either on youtube.tv, youtube.com/Mike Hartigan,
So TV? Yeah.
or twitch.tv/scribbling Mike. You can find Mike's channel or Mike's website at Scribbling Mike, scribblesbymike.com. I will get this straight in a minute. Down below, we got the down below going. I like that.
You know what else I did down below?
Yeah.
I'll show you. This. Boom. Watch this.
All right. Boom. Yes. You can find
that's for that guy.
All things me right down below.
Yeah, man.
Exit Zero newsletter, social medias at Timeline Punch, my podcast, Punch the Timeline, and the Duffy Dome. Both of those soon to be changed, renewed, rebooted.
Oh, Duffy Dome is, well, yeah, Heels is finished for now anyway.
Yeah, we're moving on.
So
I'm actually going to try and drop the last Duffy Dome episode tomorrow.
Okay, and then have you covered every episode?
Yeah, we've covered every episode. We're just kind of doing a retrospective and kind of talking about some wrestling events we went to, and then we're moving on to our next project, which is, at this point, because I've procrastinated too long, is going to be Suits LA. So, new name.
Okay, when does that start, actually?
Sunday.
Oh, okay. On Netflix. So
for you,
are they dropping the? Well, are they dropping the whole lot, or is it going to be a weekly show? I wonder.
It is network television, so it will be weekly.
It's a weekly show.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I've got so into liking having my videos on demand where I can have a whole season. So now when I do start watching a network show, I generally try to wait till all the episodes are available and then, and then watch it. The Pitt is obviously a outlier in that because it's so good, but we'll get to that later. But yeah, Suits LA, interesting, exciting. I don't think I made it to the end of the original Suits, actually. I might have somehow gone off track in the last season, but I don't think that matters.
Yeah, didn't one of the main characters leave with Meghan Markle in that last season?
She left, and then I think the main guy, that's not Harvey Specter. I think he left.
I believe
possibly.
You are correct.
But I hear they're both doing cameos, not Meghan Markle, the two guys, both cameoing in Suits LA.
Oh yeah, they're showing that already in the trailers, in the commercial for it.
Oh, okay, cool.
They're like, oh, it's Harvey Specter.
I've managed to stay away from all the trailers, actually. So, you know what? I might go in and do at least the first episode, and then I'll decide if I'm going to wait or keep up. But if we're doing the show and you're watching it every week, maybe I'll watch it. Yeah. Anyway, cool. So what do you want to chat about? What do you want to talk about?
What do you want to talk about? I saw this thing and it was Cody Rhodes posting a picture from his like high school reunion, and he was with like this with his theater group, and somebody was like, "Oh, he's a theater kid." Now it all makes sense. And I just can't unsee it.
Well, I mean, he's a good promo, right? So he's good on the mic. No?
Sometimes. I mean, I feel like you get either I am serious and I'm going to sternly look into the camera, or what do you want to talk about? I feel like it's the same promo, it's just different tones. But
yeah, fair enough. But there's much worse people on the mic.
Oh yeah, of course.
So it's not horrible. When he comes out and picks up a microphone, you don't suddenly cringe and go, "Let's change the channel." You know.
Oh goodness. As well, since we brought up television, why don't we move right on to last week? We talked about a couple of shows that either one of us should watch. And because you
Correct.
made
We had recommendations.
yes, we had recommendations based on your controversial takes on Franco's live stream. I had to challenge you to watch at least 2 episodes of Curb Your Enthusiasm. And those 2 episodes were the Palestinian chicken episode and the MAGA hat episode. So without further ado, this man tells me, watched Curb. And I said, what do you think? And he said, tune into Exit Zero on Thursday. So,
well,
I don't
come
even.
on, man. It's got to be your live reactions, right?
Yes,
So,
I like it. The dedication.
Yeah, man. Okay. I will say, of the 2 handpicked episodes that you had me watch, one of them was certainly far above the other one in terms of what I enjoyed. Palestinian Chicken was fantastic. That with pretty minor tweaking was easily would easily be able to be a Seinfeld episode. 100%. The other one was good. I see the funny in it. But that one was definitely more of a stay in your lane, Larry type of episode. It was the MAGA hat thing only came in really in the last half of the episode.
Yes.
It didn't really come up at all until then. But no, Palestinian Chicken, you almost had me, man. You almost was like, oh, I could watch more of this. So I'm glad I watched that one first. I was confused in that because I hadn't kept up. That was a season 8 episode from memory, and he's not with Cheryl anymore by that point. And then in season 10 with the MAGA hat episode, she is with Ted Danson.
Yes.
Even though from memory, hasn't Mary Steenburgen been in
Yes.
Curb?
I honestly, in my rewatching, I am still not to the point where Cheryl and Larry split, because it's like I started watching like the last 2 seasons. Spoilers. The last 2 seasons, but then I went back and started from the beginning. So I'm at the post Hurricane Katrina episodes where Leon shows up.
Okay. So after watching those, I still don't think it's a show I could sit there and watch a lot of at once, but maybe that's the point. However, I was tempted to Google like top 10 best episodes of Curb and then go through them. But Palestinian Chicken, that was a nice piece of TV. So kudos for that suggestion, and you were so close. Yeah.
I'll take it.
I was on the hook. Yeah.
I'll take it.
But I will. It's probably an episode where, I would watch the episodes people say are the better ones, but I don't think I would sit there and watch it
all the
from
way
beginning
through.
To end. This is our show, people. We are so current. We're talking about episodes from 2011 or something.
Well, I can tell you that I did a quick Google, and according to Variety, Palestinian Chicken is the #1 ranked Curb Your Enthusiasm episode.
Because it's a Seinfeld episode. If you take away the one scene in his
with Funkhauser,
where he has a rendezvous with the Palestinian woman, but the scene just before that with the woman, because that wouldn't play on NBC or whatever Seinfeld was on. That was a Seinfeld episode. It very much was. But, and I know that George Costanza is supposed to be Larry or based on Larry in Seinfeld, but Larry was very Jerry in Palestinian Chicken.
Yes.
Like he would have had all the lines Jerry had if it was a Seinfeld episode. Um, but yeah, no, I really liked it. So I'll work through maybe send me the link to that list, and I'll work through and I'll report back in as I go.
I think of them like meme worthy moments, and there's you won't get this because you are on the other side of the world and you don't watch our commercials. But he sings a jingle
during WWE.
Yeah, he sings a jingle for a law firm. He gets it stuck in his head because the woman he's dating is singing it, and there's a moment in the show where he's celebrating and he sings that jingle, and it's just free advertising for this law firm. And I found that to be one of the more hilarious moments on Curb.
That is good. Actually, I will bring up one more thing about the Marga episode, and this is something I did tell you, is that the most annoying person on Friends is probably Janice, right? Chandler's on and off again ex. I thought there was no way in the world that anyone could make that woman more annoying than she is on Friends. But somehow Curb did it. And that was the whole LOL thing, right? This really annoys me because I've known people in my life who I'll watch a movie with, and instead of just laughing at the joke, they turn to me and say, "Well, that was funny." I was like, "Oh, yeah." So the whole LOL thing really rung true, and but still cringe city. But I did like the idea of making Larry the social assassin or whatever they called it, because that is exactly what he is, right? And the fact that it took 10 seasons to get to that point is somewhat surprising, but perfect role. Although it wasn't, because it kept backfiring horrendously, as everything does for that man. So
you just described Curb Your Enthusiasm, yes, in a couple of sentences.
Yeah.
Real quick side note, I had a friend who thought that you could say anything insulting you wanted to someone, and as long as you put LOL at the end of the message, that it was okay. And he said something to somebody once, and he's like, "What? I said LOL," and I was like, "Buddy."
That's like someone who says, "No offense, but,"
yeah,
and then goes on to offend you. Yeah. So okay, right. So that was what I had to do,
and I was tasked with watching The Pitt on. Oh, I hate this, Max, which will forever. It's HBO. It's HBO Go. It's HBO Now. Whatever you want to call it, but Max.
Wasn't it HBO Max for a while?
Yeah.
And now it's just Max.
And now it's just Max.
Again,
is it Netflix for you?
No, because we don't have Max over here because the rights to most of their shows are on another local provider. They do Game of Thrones and all of those shows. So, no, those ones are. We don't have that service specifically yet.
All right.
So where we have Disney and we don't have Hulu, but all the Hulu shows go onto our Disney Plus, and obviously Netflix is a massive catalog. And I have Amazon Prime as well. So it's really only Max is the one that we don't have, but it's on something called Neon over here. But anyway, The Pitt.
The Pitt, starring Noah Wiley as an ER doctor, and it's all one shift. Every episode's an hour. And I loved it. Like, I watched one episode and I sent you a message. I was like, I'm in. I am absolutely in. However, I can tell you that there is a lawsuit between the producers of this show and the Michael Crichton estate because they're like, this is ER. Because I guess they tried to do an ER reboot or renewal, revival, and they couldn't come to terms. So they just moved on with The Pitt, and the Crichton estate is alleging that they just copy and pasted ER to The Pitt. And I can see it in some instances because I'm like, yo, this is Carter. This is Carter taking over the ER.
This is, yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, oh,
Yeah,
his
there's
mentor
no way.
died.
Yeah,
His mentor died during COVID. Benton.
yeah,
Like, this is
yeah.
ER.
This is 100% it's ER. Um, a little bit more. Well, I mean, it's what uh, 30 years later. I don't know when ER was. That was in the 90s, right?
It started in the 90s, but it went like
Yeah.
15 years.
Yeah, it went a long time. My mum was a super fan. She's got all of the seasons on DVD,
Oh, I love it.
DVD, DVD. Um, so it's obviously a little bit more not edgy, but maybe graphic. Maybe that's because it's on the streaming service.
Hmm.
Like you get to see a bit more of the patient's problems getting cut into and things like that. But it's definitely ER. But I love Dr. Robbie. He is such a good character. Um, and I just really like the show. I like the fact that they've gone with the 24 format, um, or 12 format, in this case. So I hope it gets renewed and doesn't get sued into oblivion. But
I can
HBO's
almost
Warner Brothers, right?
guarantee you though it'll get settled because this is gonna get
Oh,
renewed. It's in the top 10. It's been like 1 and 2 on like the
oh,
charts of like when you log into the app. You said moms,
yeah.
you said ER. I will now read you a text from my mom about
Hmm.
the Pit because she asked me if I was watching it. She didn't know.
Oh,
She didn't know. And so she said, "Are you watching the Pit?" And I said, "I watched it Friday. I liked it." And they're going to have to settle the lawsuit because this is totally ER with the city and the name changed. My mother
yeah.
said to me, hmm.
Uh-huh.
A lot of my mom's texts start, hmm. It doesn't feel any
Hmm.
different than Grey's Anatomy, except this show doesn't leave the
Oh,
hospital and the writing isn't as good. But I like Noah Wiley in it. I've been watching for weeks, so I'm caught up. I was like, Mom,
um,
no. And there's
okay.
nothing about Grey's Anatomy.
That's a take. Um,
That's my mom.
that's a take. Okay, okay. Since we're talking about TV, so the Pit's only weekly, so I need a fix, right? And it turns out that a lot of the stuff I'm watching happens to be medical related stuff, like scripted stuff. And because I just got Netflix recently, because I wanted WWE and stuff, um, I've started going through the catalog, right? And I found New Amsterdam, which I'd never watched, and it went for 5 seasons. It's already wrapped up and finished, so I've got a whole thing to watch. Um, and because I'm watching The Pit, which is like top tier TV, it's like really good. Like it's good writing, good acting, good, like everything is great about that show, in my opinion. Um, and New Amsterdam is good, but I think that falls more into the category of um, the melodramatic soap opera ishy. Maybe I haven't watched enough Greys. I think I watched some of season one before I bailed on it way back when it started. Um, but like I'm enjoying New Amsterdam, and it's really funny because I watched Cross recently, which is based on the James Patterson, Alex Cross books because I loved those books. Um, and the guy who plays the villain in that, because it's not based on a specific book, the series, um, he was a really good villain. And when I started watching New Amsterdam, I was like, hey, I recognize this main character, the chief of medicine who's just started at New Amsterdam Hospital in New York. I was like, what do I know him from? And he was the serial killer in Cross, and he was so good at that. But I've got past that now because he's really good in New Amsterdam. But the the problem I have with that is it's a lot of happy endings. It's one of those shows,
Oh,
It's
wrap it in a bow.
like we wrap stuff up in 40 minutes and as happily as possible. There's the odd one that might not go the way you want it to, but they sort of prep you right through the episode that it's gonna happen. And I feel like, and maybe it's the binge problem, is when you watch all the episodes in a row, things become more obvious, weaknesses become more obvious. I guess, when it's not made to be binged, if that makes sense. So it seemed like they backloaded season one with a whole lot of, oh, we should mention this and this and this, just out of nowhere, because it'll set up the finale, or it'll make you, as the viewer, assume where the finale's going, because we've never alluded to this stuff before, but 5 episodes before the end of the season, we're going to start dropping these little things like, oh, suddenly um, this person has this disease, or suddenly this person wants a baby, or suddenly this, you know, this thing we never told you about is something really important to this character, for 22 episodes, and we didn't tell you. Because then when it comes to the finale, you're like, oh, this is clearly going to be wrapped up very nicely, because if this one thing happens, then this solves all these other problems for these other characters, if that makes sense. But then, so I'm sitting there watching the finale and of season one, and I was like, "Oh, this is clearly obvious where this is going to go, right? Like, there's no question." Then it doesn't happen, right? So you're like, "Oh, okay, good, right? That's cool." And then you're like, "Well, whatever. Then it would have been better my way, but what do I know? I'm not a TV writer." And then 5 minutes later, they just throw this massive curveball, and something massive happens, which then turns it back to like, oh, what I thought was going to happen has happened, but in a different way. So you tricked me into thinking I was wrong, but then you made me right, if that makes sense.
You got swerved, but then you went right back into where you thought it was going to be. Double swerved to get back where you thought it would be. Now,
yeah, in wrestling that'd be a double turn, right?
Yes. Now, is that the show where the guy's like, we're not going to charge money to our patients?
Yeah, because it's a public hospital. But do they exist in America? Like, that's a genuine question. While I'm watching it, I'm honestly thinking,
no.
Yeah, because that's what I thought.
No, because I had a family incident this week, and one of the questions I asked was, what's your insurance cover for ambulance care?
Mm-hmm.
And the answer was, I don't know. And then I was like, a couple of days later, I was like, by the way, if you paid up front, if you paid all in cash, they cut it in half by 50%. So yeah, that's not a thing in America. It's
So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's a soap opera-ishy, like that prime time drama feel. Whereas the Pit, I feel, is not so much like that. Like, maybe it's because of the format of being an actual hour. Because like the endings of each episode, have you watched more than one?
Yes, I'm caught up. I haven't watched today's.
Oh, okay. No, neither have I. So yeah, we're both up to date. So I'm not going to say any spoilers or anything, but have you noticed that most episodes don't end on an ending?
It like reaches a stopping point. Yeah,
it's like the hour's up. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and I like that because there is no bow, because it's just the next hour. It's and I will talk about this because I did turn someone else onto the show. I'm feeling very good about this show. They in the early episodes, 1 and 2, maybe 3, they have alluded to the way I think the season is going to end is with the school shooting.
Yes.
Based on this one character from the early episodes who's never been brought up again until I think they mentioned the mother briefly in a later episode, and said, "Have you got a hold of your son yet?" And it was still no. And then you think, wow, they've left that for a long time, but not really. It's only like 3 hours later.
Yeah.
Or something. So this is a show that would be good as a binge, especially if you had 12 hours or just under, because it's not actually an hour an episode. Because I think that would work really well. But
I think it's
this
either
is like.
I think it's either going to be a school shooting or it's going to be that musical festival that everybody keeps talking about.
The one that the sun is going to?
Yes.
Yeah. See, that was a bit of a curveball for me too. Like, oh, suddenly he's got a son. But again, it didn't matter because really there was only 3 or 4 hours into his shift that that happened. So yeah, it, that's really good. I look forward to Fridays. I look forward to Fridays for the pit, and I look forward to um well, my Friday. I think it's Thursday night
Yes.
that it comes on over there. And my Monday night, which is Sunday in America, for last week tonight with John Oliver. So my weeks are bookended quite nicely. I like that. But I was just going to say, the other medical program I'm watching, which is completely uh, in a different thing, is St. Denis Medical, which is a sitcom um, from the makers of Superstore and American Auto. Superstore was one of my favorite sitcoms, and it went, I think, for about 7 seasons or something. It was great. America Ferrera was in it, along with other people, obviously. Great show. And then American Auto, I really loved, but unfortunately was cancelled after 2 seasons. And this is Spitz's new show. So it has Wendy I can't remember her name. The mother from the Goldbergs, which was
Yes.
another show I loved. Um, is like a medical director at St. Denis, and it's got David Allen Greer, and it's got a few other. Um, it's like an ensemble cast as well, but I don't know. Somehow, all my TV viewing has gone medical for some reason. It's really strange.
Funny
But
story.
anyway, good shows.
Funny story.
Mm,
Went to
mm,
Universal Studios in California,
uh-huh.
and I took
Mhm.
did the VIP experience. So you do the parks and you go to the movie lots, and we got to tour the St. Denis Medical set.
Oh,
Yeah,
well, there you go.
they weren't
Nice.
there, so they were like, "Hey, let's all come in there." So we toured that set, and then we toured the prop room. So I saw like furniture and signage and stuff for Stoots LA. So
Oh,
yeah,
cool. Oh, so you're ahead of the curve. Nice,
yes. So
nice. So yeah, there you go. So St. Denis is good. It's not as good as well, I mean, it's still season one, right? But yeah, it hasn't quite reached Superstore levels, but maybe Superstore didn't in season one either. What show is really good out of the gate? Very few have winning first seasons, right? Compared
yes.
to how they go. Um, Seinfeld season one was not the best season. Um, we've talked about it before. The Office and Parks and Rec both got better after season one. Um, but St. Denis is not a bad season one. It's just you're getting to know the characters still, right? So, but it's funny. I like it. I don't know. Are you a sitcom person or are you
Absolutely.
just
Um, I'm not I'm not
well, Curb, obviously?
actively watching St. Denis, but when I catch one, I'm like, hey, this is funny. I should watch it. But
Mm,
it's like ADD. It's like I have to be in the right mood, and I sometimes I don't pay attention. But it's like how I won't watch anything regularly, but all of a sudden I'll be like, yeah, I watched Fire Country last night, or I watched Matlock.
I was going to ask you about Fire Country because that's on Netflix, and I like the premise. I watched the trailer and I read the synopsis, and I like the premise. Is it worth my time? Do you
Yes,
think?
yes.
Okay,
If you give it,
nice,
if you
concise.
set
That's
your
what we're about.
if you set your expectations to network drama,
Okay,
but I'm not. It's not
okay.
terrible. It's not like groundbreaking, but it's like okay, this is a good episode. Like this is it's not appointment television for me, but it's hard to get me to sit down
Mm,
for anything. So if you, but I'll watch it if it's in front of me.
hmm
So
Okay, okay, that's good enough. I watched Apple Cider Vinegar, which came onto Netflix recently. It's got Caitlin Dever, who I really like. Um, she was in Booksmart with Jonah Hill's sister, whose name I can't recall at the moment. Um, that was Olivia Wilde's directorial debut movie, I think.
mhm.
Um, and she was in oh, one of those movies where it's on. I think it's a Hulu movie from memory where home invasion type movie, but with aliens. I can't remember what it's called. But that was pretty cool too. And I really like her. And she's in it playing an Australian, and she does a good job. She does the accent. So it's pretty cool. It's about I don't know if you've heard about the show, but it's about a girl called Belle Gibson who was a social media influencer who said she had been diagnosed with malignant brain tumor in real life, and amassed this huge following on social media by saying that she had essentially cured herself through healthy eating and all of this non-medical stuff. So she gained this huge following. She launched this app called Whole Pantry, which became one of the original preloaded Apple Watch apps. I was the only one from Australia or whatever. And then she started getting people querying whether she was actually had cancer or whatever. So I watched the show. It's only like 5 or 6 episodes. It was good. There's also a documentary, as Netflix usually does. They'll make a show out of something, then they'll put the documentary version so you can watch both. And the documentary clearly shows that they've played around with the timeline a bit, and the the show has has cast more diversely than the people were in real life. Is that the political way to say it? Like,
Yes.
You know what I mean? Not a problem. I don't care, but it's just like an interesting choice. Like you watch the documentary, going, "Oh, that's that person," but you wouldn't have known. There's a disconnect. But it's yeah, it was quite good. But then again, see, that's medical related as well. So anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. Let's bring it back on track.
All right. Real quick, and then we'll move on to our next category. Upcoming this week, 1923, yes, which is good for me.
What, season 2?
Season 2, 1923.
Oh, when is that happening?
So I believe it's Sunday. I could be wrong, but it's coming up this week.
It's coming, so
and then I said next week, but I'll just call this upcoming. I think in 2 weeks, Daredevil: Born Again.
Yes. Did you see the release schedule? How they're doing that?
I did not. Is it the 3?
Okay, so
and then 11111?
No, it's 2, 11112. I believe.
I have to
think that's how Agatha all along might have done it that way. So they front load and end load. I don't know. That sounds a bit wrong. So yeah. So really looking forward to that.
I need to actually finish watching the old Netflix series of Daredevil because I finished season 1 and we started on season 2 and I never finished watching it. So that whole
people say season 2 is a weak season. I don't think it's a weak. Maybe it's the weakest of the 3, but I don't think it's a weak season of TV. It's definitely a show of 2 halves that season though. Because you have a Punisher half and you have an Elektra half. But yeah, definitely do that because it's clearly going to tie in and reference back to the Netflix show. And I did read an article yesterday, I think, where one of the guys I think he was a producer or showrunner on the Netflix shows, has said that they are actively working on trying to bring the Netflix Defenders characters into the MCU. So my hope is Jessica Jones, but Power Man and Iron Fist would be good if the MCU can sort of tweak them a bit. And obviously, I think the Punisher will be next.
Yeah.
Good. All right. What else was coming up? Or was that it?
That was the only 2 that I was interested in. So
1923 is a surprise. Good, because that ended on a cliffhanger. I want to know what happens. Which is what a cliffhanger is for.
Well, it was just like it wasn't so much a cliffhanger as it was like a, well, this is the end.
Didn't it leave the dude stranded in the middle of the ocean or something? Didn't the boat sink or something?
No, they kicked him off the boat and she's like, I'll meet you in Montana.
Oh. Maybe I need to rewatch that.
And it was like, yeah,
It wasn't my favorite Yellowstone show, but
it took so long to paint the picture before it got moving because there were like 3 different stories. But now that there's momentum, 2 years later, they're gonna hopefully it'll be better. But let's move on to our next topic of professional wrestling. You specifically wanted to talk about NXT.
I did. So last week, I think on episode 1 of the show, I said that I was going to start watching NXT again because it's over here. It's on Netflix live. So I don't watch it live, but I can watch it same day in a nice 1080p. It's really nice. So I watched. Actually, I did watch the PLE live last weekend. It was Vengeance Day. I don't know if you watched it or read the results or anything like that. Not a bad PLE, and it was good for me because I'd been wanting to watch Stephanie Vickers. I'd been wanting to watch Julia, all the hype people that came in, and I'd never seen their stuff in the other promotions. So now was my chance, and the PLE was good. I don't know. Can I talk about results? Like,
Hey, if you haven't seen the results of NXT in the last few days,
Vengeance
here's your warning. Go for it.
Yeah. Right. So Stephanie Vickers opened the show and beat Fallon Henley for the NXT Women's North American Championship. These title names are getting so long. So yeah, that was really cool. And I was thinking, well, that's good because Julia is the NXT Women's Champion, the top one, and they're best friends. So I'm assuming Julia's going to keep hers, and they'll be buds. They'll hold all the gold or whatever, which is what happened. But I guess the big news that came out of, or one of the big news that came out of Vengeance Day was Jordynne Grace has officially jumped ship and signed with WWE. So no more of these cool TNA cameos from her in the Royal Rumble where she dominates for a few minutes before having to be eliminated because she's not with WWE. Now she's in NXT, and it is awesome. She is a tank, man.
Did you
Jordynne
see
Grace.
did you see how the latest episode of NXT ended?
Yeah, with her, with the look on her face, you mean?
Yeah.
Or yeah. So yeah, with NXT, first I was thinking when it was Stephanie, Julia, and Jordan, I was like, oh, that'd be a nice little faction. That would probably be unmissable with, right? Like they'd dominate. But then obviously their team won the match. They're all standing there. Stephanie and Julia are holding up their gold. Oh, one of these things is not like the other. And Jordynne Grace is sort of like, I need one of those shiny things, is what it looked like to me.
Yeah. It was like,
Yep,
which one am I
exactly
going to
that.
pick?
Yeah. But you can't turn her heel because she's way too over. But then you can't turn the other two heel either. So I don't know. What do you do? Yeah.
You roll with Big Mama Pump as her heel persona. They've got the siren set up
Yep.
already.
That is true. That is
Yes.
true. But she is an absolute unit, man. And she's awesome to watch in the ring too. It's not like, so I can see why Triple H would like her.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised it took this long. I guess she had to wait till her TNA contract was up.
Mm-hmm.
But do we think that Hendry's going to make the jump similar to that eventually? Or
Absolutely.
do you think he'll stay in,
Absolutely. He is counting down the days. And
but this is just making TNA OVW, isn't it?
this makes TNA ECW.
Or FCW. Oh, yeah, maybe.
It's because it's like
true.
You can workshop someone in TNA, then you can bring them over for cheap and try them out on your TV. It reminds me of when I quit my job about 10 years ago, and then I asked to come back, and my boss wouldn't hire me back until a couple months later, and he hired me back at a lower position, which is what the Hardys look like coming to TNA or coming to NXT to do a tag match.
Oh, that annoyed me to no end on this episode of NXT. Is one thing I can't stand anymore is the Hardys. Sorry, but I'm done, man. Like, Jeff, uh, he has his problems. Matt's more my problem because he can't even walk properly. And like they keep cashing, or they not cashing in, but the they're living off the legend of the Hardy Boys, right? Like that's what the fans are doing too, to be fair, which is probably the problem. Um, they are not the the TLC guys anymore. Like they're not the guys who can do that stuff anymore. They did in AEW, but whatever. Um, the guy can't even walk properly, and I was so angry in that backstage promo when um what are they called, the no quarter catch crew or whatever, they just interrupt whoever's talking and turn to the camera and say, we challenge the Hardy Boys. I was like, no. So now I'm gonna have to watch the Hardy Boys next week because of course they already had a pre-recorded acceptance loaded, and yeah, that's one part of TNA I don't need to. But I guess if WWE can use them just when they need them instead of having to use them every week and probably pay them way less,
Yeah.
um, then why wouldn't Shawn Michaels and Triple H do that, right?
I gotta say, I know you're like
Yeah.
these aren't the TLC Hardys. When I was at Dynamite and they were taping for Rampage, they don't tell you what's happening next. They're like, "Are you ready for your next match?" And
Okay.
when I heard the Hardy Boy music hit, I was the first one on my feet cheering because it was so unexpected.
Yeah, because you are living in a cloud of nostalgia, right?
I
Like,
was just excited that I got to see the Hardys and that my daughter got to see them
yeah,
too. Because I haven't
fair,
seen.
but it's not the same.
Oh, of
It's not
course
the same
not.
height. But I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, though.
I hadn't seen. The last time I saw the Hardys live was 2001. It was when
Okay.
they were pushing the Matt Jeff split back then, but I don't think they had done it yet.
Well, speaking of that, now I watched LFG as well, the Legends and Future Greats, um, which is what it officially stands for. But if you watch the show, it's constantly said to refer to the same thing as it refers to in Deadpool Wolverine. Um, Somebody on Twitter just really came down on Bully Ray or Bubba Ray, whatever you want to call him. Bully Ray is so much better. Um, on Twitter, just saying this bench warmer thinks he was a main eventer and he keeps acting like he was a main eventer. And I'm like, dude, like what? And thankfully, a lot of people did come to, not that he needs it, but to his defense and said, what are you talking about? That's rubbish. That's a bad take and blah, blah, blah. Um, but I mean, he even chimed in as well because he's
He's
Bully
got
Ray.
a radio
But
show to promote. Yeah,
what's that?
he's got a radio show to promote.
Well, yeah, that's exactly right. But I thought that was such a bad take. Like I believe, two-time Hall of Famer.
That's
Is he? Or
he might be TNA and
no, he can't.
I don't know.
Yeah, surely in WWE he can only be the Dudley Boys, right?
Yeah,
Because he didn't do much solo stuff. Yeah. Anyway, so he's one of the coaches on LFG along with Undertaker, Mickey James, and Booker T. Man, I find Booker T did a lot of stuff. I just can't stand listening to that guy all the time, man.
he's
Like
terrible on commentary.
he is, but now I've got to watch him on LFG as well because he's one of the coaches. Um, Undertaker's not the Undertaker. He's Mark Calloway, but
Yeah.
he's the Undertaker for the show because it's WWE. And Mickey James. That answers our question. Didn't I ask a question last week?
Mm-hmm.
Is Mickey James? Yeah, there we go. It's answered. She's in WWE. So yeah, that was a good first episode. Interesting that Evander Holyfield's son is one of the performance center recruits. And it's quite interesting because all of the recruits have been there for various lengths of time. One of them is Maxine Dupree's boyfriend. And it's cool too because the way they structured the show, I don't know if you watched it, but the way they structured the show was they all had to come out and show some in-ring stuff. And okay. Okay, should I stop talking about it?
No, I'm just saying, like, as far as Tubi, isn't it like a lower tier, like it's on Tubi or is that on A&E?
It's A&E.
Okay, well, I still...
Evolve is for Tubi.
Okay.
I was hoping that, because in New Zealand we don't have A&E, I was hoping we'd get that on Netflix as well, but alas, no. But no, so they had to come and do some ring stuff, run the ropes and all that basic, first week stuff. And then they had to come out and do a promo, and that was a mixed bag. Actually, it wasn't that mixed. It was mostly not very good. And then the two guys and the two girls that the coaches thought did the best overall in the two things had to come out and have a match. The two guys had a match and the two girls had a match. And then from there, the coaches would choose who the best of each was, and those people get to pick their coach. And then next week, the coaches will choose the rest of their teams.
So you're saying it's kind of like American Idol or The Voice, where exactly. So it's like Tough Enough and The Voice got married.
Yeah, except that in this case, the coach is choosing the teams, whereas on The Voice, if the coaches turn around, the contestant still chooses who they want, I guess. But yeah, so yes, essentially, they've made it into one of those sort of shows. But yeah, not a bad first episode. Like, if you're sitting there going, who's your choice of coach? Probably your first choice would be Undertaker, wouldn't it? Like, by default, out of the four of them.
Of course.
Like, I like Mickey James and Bubba Ray, but surely you're going to be like, it's the Undertaker. It's like, if Stone Cold was sitting there, you're not going to pick Stone Cold? Like, whatever. So yeah, I don't know. But funnily enough, the girl did choose Undertaker. The boy chose Booker T. The rest. I liked it enough to want more.
Uh-oh. We appear to have had a streaming issue here. Mike, you are frozen. This is the part where I shoot him a text. And he has disappeared. Yeah, I'm not that WWE kind of guy. And there you are.
Here we go. We're back. Yeah, we're back. So anyway, enough about that. Evolve is next. I don't know about that. But you wanted to talk about AEW. Yay. Can I have one of those signs?
Hey, you just give me the signal and I'll give you one of these.
Nice.
I just wanted to talk about...
I need to buy one.
I just wanted to talk about Grand Slam a little bit because it was a mixed bag. You had the main event, obviously, Timeless Tony Storm. Spoilers incoming, everybody. Timeless Tony Storm winning the title in Australia, which it's funny to me because I'm like, she was born in New Zealand, but then she grew up in Australia, but then she moved to England. So I guess she claims all of them, but she obviously was, match of the night. They put her in the main event slot. I totally skipped over Okada and Buddy Matthews because you're not
interesting pairing.
You're not going to beat Okada. I don't care if you're in Australia. I don't care if no one's beating Okada. And it's so weird that they gave him that title.
Well, Buddy Murphy's not.
Yeah.
Like Buddy Matthews, what's his name now?
Buddy Matthews.
Right, yeah. He's not beating Okada, but okay.
And then
that's even in Australia.
And then the Death Riders, Moxley choked out Adam Copeland. I refuse to call him Cope, but he choked him out in their tag team match. Which was Claudio and Moxley versus Adam Copeland and Switchblade.
Edge and Jay White, who is from New Zealand and stayed in New Zealand and says he's from New Zealand.
Yes. So yes, the pride. Yes.
I'm in Dakota Kai. They're my boys.
Yeah. I just know like with Tony Storm, when they're like, oh, in your hometown in front of your family, I was like, I believe she was born in New Zealand, so that's a
Yeah, but
weird
it's
one.
what is your hometown? Is it where you grew up mostly, or is it where you were born? You know, it's like B. Priestley was born in New Zealand, but grew up in England from I think like age 3 or something. So
But
she mostly grew up. I think she had a British accent, doesn't she?
yes, but was
Um,
she born to British
yeah,
parents in New Zealand?
was she? I don't know.
I don't know. I think we've had this discussion because um my lady is from Texas, but she was born in California. So she's
Oh, okay.
it's where you grow up. You can say, yeah, I was born here, but
Hmm.
not everyone's like me and lives 20 minutes away from where they were born and always has.
Mm. Well, see, I was born in Auckland, but then I moved and grew up in other places. But then at 15, moved back to Auckland. So I'd still say I'm an Aucklander.
Yeah.
Um, okay. Well, that went off track. So anyway, was it a thumbs up pay-per-view? Because they still call them pay-per-views over there, don't they?
This was
In old
actually just
AEW.
a network special. They put it on after the NBA
Oh,
All-Star game, so it was late. Like it started at 10, 10:15.
oh,
I
okay.
watched the first hour, and then there's an opening match that I'm totally forgetting. But I fell asleep and I had to watch the rest at home on um what is it? Triller? Yeah. I still call it Fight TV, but it's
Okay.
Triller.
Okay.
Worth it to watch Tony Storm. Um I mean, it's not something that's like, oh, 5 stars, 7 stars, amazing. But it moved along some storylines. Copeland still has Moxley at the next pay per view, which is the first week of March.
Sorry, he's still Edge. He's never going to be Adam Copeland. Sorry, he's
I, that's how
just
I feel
it's
about
Edge.
the Cope thing. He's trying to get everybody to call him
Mm.
Cope, and it's like, I'm sorry, bud. I bought myself an Adam Copeland shirt, and it took me a year to call you Adam Copeland. You can't just spring the Cope thing on me.
I'm sorry, but if you look like Edge and you sound like Edge and you come out to Edge's music,
Oh, that was the
you're Edge.
moment for him, was like everybody singing his theme music when he came out to the ring.
Hmm.
Let's see, what was the opening match? Oh, the opening match was Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega defeating Kyle Fletcher and Konosuke Takeshita, which I'm an Ospreay fan, so that was a pretty sweet
So
match.
see, I really am beginning to think that in the modern era of wrestling, there's no such thing as curtain jerking anymore. Like, it used to
No,
be a thing. Like you're the curtain jerker, you're the mid lower mid card or low whatever is under the mid card. And you start the show, right? Because no one really cares. They're still taking their seats. You're jerking the curtain. You're the first one through. Now it's like Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega are coming out straight away. It's the same on Raw, although Raw usually starts with a promo. To be fair, um, NXT, um, I don't think there's any such thing anymore.
on a
As
pay-per-view, I believe it's, if you aren't last, you want to be first,
Yeah, I would get that.
because you're
Yeah.
either, especially if you're like the co-main event, which is not a wrestling term but an MMA term. Everybody's gonna lose steam, and they're like waiting for the main event, so they just want your stuff to be over. So you want to either open the show or close it.
Plus, if you're first, you can do all the wacky stuff, and then nobody can. You don't have to try and top somebody,
Mm-hmm.
um, because you get to do it first. But yeah, okay.
But there was
Yeah, I don't know. I've just dropped so far off AEW.
there was
Um,
a one-winged angel with Osprey also doing a hidden blade. It was a great combo move. So they've got storylines coming up.
nice.
So Takeshita is going to. It's weird how they were like, okay, Kenny Omega wants to wrestle Takeshita, but then they're like, okay, how about this? Orange Cassidy's going to wrestle Roderick Strong, and whoever wins that is going to then the next week wrestle Takeshita, and then whoever wins that match, whoever's the champion, will wrestle Kenny Omega.
For some reason, I knew about Orange Cassidy versus Roderick Strong. I don't know why I knew about that because I haven't been watching. But okay, so because they've changed Orange Cassidy, right? He's not this guy anymore, or
He went back.
no. Oh, he is that guy now.
They went
Oh,
back to
so
Jane. He's wearing the blue denim, so he's back to.
okay.
He's not Where's My Mind black Ray-Bans.
So what's his music now?
Jane by um, Jefferson
Okay.
Airplane, which is the superior
Okay.
Orange Cassidy theme song.
Hmm.
This is a thumbs up to
Oh,
me and my child because we both love
nice.
that.
What was I going to say? When I was watching NXT this week, though, I kept thinking, wow, this is where AEW people come now, because it was like you had Ricky Starks, you had Sean Spears, um, uh, wasn't well for a little while anyway, Roxy, right? Because she was in Ring of Honor
Yeah,
after after Tony Khan bought it for a
and
little while. Um,
Ethan Page.
oh yeah, that was the other one, and Ethan Page, and then Ethan Page confronting Ricky Starks, sorry, Ricky Saints, um, and it was just like, oh, cool, we're just AEW, but
Somebody said
whatever.
that
Um,
NXT is just Rampage now.
no, it's better than Rampage. Sorry, Rampage was no, hang on, it was Dynamite. Which was the third show? Collision or Rampage?
Collision was the Saturday
Collision,
night
right?
show, which
Yeah,
was
yeah,
supposed to be Punk's show, and then you had the YouTube shows
and it was good.
Dark Elevation.
Collision started good when it was Punk show. I know you don't like him, but it was much better.
It was Saturday
And then it
night's main
just became
event.
nothing.
It was Saturday night's main event, down to the promos with the music, and then just the presentation of it. It felt old. I liked Collision in the beginning, and now I have to remind myself to watch it.
See, this is why I'm happy to see that um, Punk is going to come and do a mentorship in LFG on one of the future episodes, because I think that's where Punk's going to end up. Um, and I'm a super fan. I know you're not anymore, or you're not, just full stop. But I think he's going to be really good in that role, because I think he genuinely does like to do that sort of thing. Um, but I know you're AEW hard, so you're never going to be a fan anyway. But um, yeah, I'm glad to see that's going to happen. I'm interested to see who else comes in and talks. But seeing Fit Finley and Red Rooster, because again, it's like Edge, right? He's always going to be the Red Rooster. What's his name? Terry Taylor. Uh, you know, and Matt Bloom, I guess. Prince Albert, Tensai, whatever you want to call him, still there. And it was weird too, because when I was watching that and I saw Matt Bloom standing there, I was like, wait, didn't he get fired for being a real dickbag? And then I realized that was Hugh Morris, or whatever Hugh Morris's real name is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bill DeMott.
Build them up.
Yeah. Um, yeah. So yeah, it's cool because these are people who are in the performance center. They're not just off the street new hires. So yeah, anyway, I've taken over your AW thing, going back to LFG. So anyway, um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I can get back to AW now. I think I'm too. I don't know. Is MJF still there?
Yes, MJF is actually going to be wrestling Hangman at the next pay-per-view. They've been having some really nice
Haven't we seen that
promos.
before?
Not in this version
No,
of Hangman though. Hangman is like he went through like this like absolutely intense heel run, and now he's kind of
mm-hmm.
like coming back around.
Okay.
But MJF is getting stale because it's just the same old stuff. But it's
the last time I watched, I feel like he had just turned it up past 11, and it was getting to the point where it's gone into annoying. Like it wasn't fun to watch anymore.
it's
He
predictable.
was. It's like Taika making Thor: Love and Thunder after making Ragnarok. He he took the wrong feedback on what we liked about Ragnarok and ramped up Love and Thunder too far the wrong way. Um, I feel like it was like that. Um, that's the best I can explain it. Anyway, moving on. Um,
But yes, I'm a big AEW fan. You are definitely a WWE person. I mean, we'll be there, WrestleMania. I'll watch probably the main event. That's what I did last year. Is I watched the main events of night 1 and 2, but I'm not like, oh yeah, it's the opening match of night 2 of WrestleMania. Who
there's no
can't?
curtain jerker anymore, so
Yeah, but
you never know.
it's ironic that Punk is back where he mocked, where it's like main event night 3 of a buy one get one free pay per view. But I mean,
But then on the other hand, he also can't complain if he's not in the main event and he's not champion, because he's the one who's always said the champion should go on last, right?
mm-hmm.
So um, I don't know. The way I'm seeing it at the moment is main event of night 1 is main event Jey Uso versus Gunther, and um, the main event of night 2 is obviously Cody versus the winner of the Elimination Chamber. Um, but look, looking at the way, because I think all the qualifying matches are done now. There might be one women's one left. I can't remember. To see who's going into the chamber next weekend. Um, it's it's definitely one of these things is not like the other situation, because you've got like future Hall of Famers across the board and Logan Paul, who probably could be a future Hall of Famer because he is very good. He's just annoying as all get out. But it's just funny because you've got like John Cena, Roman Reigns.
Isn't Damian Priest in it?
Yeah.
Um, isn't
Sorry, Damian
Roman's
Priest.
out? Priest is in. But real quick
Priest is in.
on that Logan
I like
Paul
Priest.
on that Logan Paul's great thing. Do you know where half his moveset comes from? Hangman Adam Page.
That is correct. Yes. But you can't deny that for someone who was not a wrestler, he's taken to it better than most celebrities who come in to try and be a wrestler.
Correct. I will give him that much credit. Yes.
Okay. He does go for the super spots, sort of like Shane McMahon used to, right?
Yes.
He has to go for the super spots, but he is a social media person, I guess. Anyway, it was looking very Hall of Famey. It was like, whoa, this is like an elimination chamber you might have seen 10 years ago or something, when people were like, when it was peak, or probably not 10 years ago then, but earlier. And the women's one is pretty good too. Like you've got, well, actually, I want to talk about that. Clearly, Roxanne Perez is now main roster. They've just sort of snuck her onto the main roster. Longest ever Royal Rumble outing for a woman. She came second to Charlotte Flair in the Royal Rumble, and now she qualified for the Elimination Chamber when she's not even on the main roster. So clearly, they've just sort of slid her into the main roster without making a big deal about it.
Fast tracked her.
So, you what?
I said she got fast tracked.
Oh yeah. It's good though. I like her. She's clearly not going to win it and go to WrestleMania or anything, but we'll see. I don't know. Charlotte choosing Tiffy I thought for sure she was going to choose Rhea. But hopefully we don't end up with Liv versus Rhea 75 or whatever we're up to now. So anyway, enough wrestling.
Enough wrestling. Although the next episode, maybe I'll show you guys Orange Cassidy's sunglasses because I have a pair. Now let's move on to comics. We didn't get to talk about comics. We went on way too long last week, and we did not get to talk about anything comics. And you are, by God, a comic book creator.
So I'm told.
So you're told. Upcoming projects announced, and when is Squish and Squash 4 coming out, by the way?
I don't know. Well, I don't know because I feel like, well, obviously I was the delay to start with, but during me being the delay, Diamond folded, Diamond Distribution. So I don't know if that's going to cause further delay now. I have no idea. At this point, because of my workload, I was just like, get the pages done, hand it in, and then it's not my problem anymore. It's going to come out at some point. But yeah, I can't answer that question. I should probably ask that question. But that is on the horizon at some point. I'm still waiting for the feed from Kids Screen about how Squish and Squash did. I heard it was well received, but I haven't had any official like notes back yet. I thought they were coming this week, but people are busy, so they'll come when they come. But hopefully, by the time we do this third episode of our show, I can sort of say how it went. I'm not expecting that we sold it or anything. I would have heard about that, but it's good to have feedback. So yeah, and then obviously Chase Speedington, which I'm working on now. I feel like this deadline is too close. I try my hard. This is going to sound ironic, being that I'm taking time to do a live stream now. This is once a week though. I just feel like I can't get ahead on this project. Like I'm enjoying the heck out of it. Like some of these pages have been quite challenging, but I've just enjoyed the heck out of it, and I'm actually liking the pages that are coming out. And I have sneakily, maybe I shouldn't admit it, shared one on the Discord. So not as public as social media, because I felt like otherwise it looks like I'm doing nothing, right? But man, my goal is to do 3 to 4 pages a day. I'm just sort of getting 2, but this is fully inked and colored.
That is Sal Buscema level output.
What's that?
That is Sal Buscema output level right there.
Oh man, I need to be doing like a maybe, yeah, I don't know. It's not enough. Just because of the deadline, it's not enough. Like I don't want to rush it because I'm liking the pages and how they're looking, and I don't want the quality to dip in like the second half of the book or whatever. But I don't know, man. I'm like 2.5 pages at a push is sort of, and it's not like I'm mucking around either. Like I'm sitting here drawing, and I had this thing coming into it after doing my last project. I'm not going to be so pedantic with this one. I'm just going to draw it. I'm not going to fret the little details. And I'm just going to pump these pages out. But apparently my brain doesn't agree, and it keeps seeing things that I want to fix up. And so I don't know. It's like a double-edged sword. Like, yeah, I'm trying my hardest. So anyway, the plan is to hit my deadline and have it come out in November is the short version of that story. And then unannounced project, which you can Google my name and probably figure out what it is still unannounced. However, I have been told definitely that it is currently overseas at the printers, getting printed into nice looking books. And hopefully an announcement will arrive before the books do. We have pretty much, no, we've secured a US publisher. So the home base for Unannounced Project is the UK. It's signed with a UK publisher. We've now secured an American publisher, although unfortunately to tell you, at this stage, it's probably going to be delayed from when it comes out in the UK and other English speaking parts of the world. Canada and US are probably going to be like a year later. However, that's what Amazon's for, right? Amazon UK. So, and we've secured a few other territories and language rights. So I assume or expect an announcement to come pretty soon, with the backing of all that cool stuff. So yeah, stuff's happening. This year is, you'll see some stuff.
We'll talk about that Discord later. I forgot to put that in the notes, so you can get a sneak peek at what Mike's working on.
It's the only place because again, it's less public than social media. I don't even know how you can get a share. Like, I know how to get a link to invite people into our Discord, but it doesn't seem to have like a, discord.com/scribble
Yeah.
squad or what. It hasn't got one of those. So I find it hard to, if you ask and you want to join the Discord, I'll give you the link. I'll give you an invite link. I'm more than happy. I just don't know how to do it like on here, because you obviously can't click a link on the live stream. So
You could probably get a QR
I
code.
could add it to the notes. Yeah, I've got to figure out if there's a way to make a free QR code that lasts forever.
Mm-hmm.
But I could put it in the YouTube notes. Come to think of it, because
that'll work.
I can have a non-ending invitation. So if you want to join our Discord, then come. We've built a really nice community of positive vibes and artists of different levels, and we've got some pros in there. We've got some people who want to be pros. We've got some amateur artists who just do it for fun. We've got some people who aren't even artists and just want to come and hang out and chat, and
That's me.
Yeah. And we just talk about whatever, man. So if you want to come and join the community, then I will put a link in the comments after the stream is ended. So there you go.
So I wanted to talk about one thing in particular, because it sounds like you're not doing a lot of reading because you're doing a lot of drawing.
Accurate.
All right. There is a box in my house. It's right over there. And it has a lot of comics that I have purchased for this man. Right there.
This man.
And one of the things that we were really waiting on that took 6 months to order was the DC Comics Style Guide. So I have a copy of the DC Comics Style Guide ready to ship. I need to get your info and I need to ship you a box. But we had talked.
We're going to close that box off now. I'm not going to add anything else to it.
I don't know. You were talking about John Cena shirts.
Yeah, but okay, just a quick aside. I went back onto the website to do that, and they've changed them all, because now it's per state that he's in that week.
Oh, come on.
I don't like that, because I'm not American enough. I just want the one that came out originally, and I clearly have missed. So I think we're just going to, unless I get a CM Punk shirt, which will make your day, we're going to seal the box
and ship it.
Because I know someone else is waiting for a copy of what you're about to talk about as well.
Yes, the Style Guide finally came out. We had discussed this on a previous project. Shout out to Brian. Rest in peace, Rambling Geek. Rambling Geek forever.
Hold one out.
But this Style Guide came out. It's beautiful. It's amazing. It's waiting for you. And I just think that's funny that we like to joke that we manifested it. Like, we manifest.
Yeah, well, Brian certainly does. Yeah. We had talked about, so it was this mythical artifact, right? The DC Comics Style Guide, with art by it's
Jose Luis Garcia Lopez.
Yeah. Sorry. Yes, the name just so it's the guide of the house style, the way to draw DC.
It's beautiful
characters, right? They're like,
yeah,
this is how you draw. This is Superman's costume. This is how Jordan's costume. This is Robin, blah, 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 down the list. And it was this mythical thing that was lost to the ages, that was never good. Like Bucky Barnes, like Gwen Stacy, like Uncle Ben. It was something that was never supposed to be resurrected. But then we found out somebody was going to resurrect it in a new version. Is it a book, or it's a book now, right?
It's a book.
Not a folio.
It's a hardcover, but it looks like a folio. It's fun because they found I believe they found 2 or 3 copies, and they just did a transfer. So there's a page where it's like, hey, from now on, Superman's hair is this color. And hey, this should be this. And it's just a great, here is a height representation of the Justice League. And here's the colors for this. Nice. And it's a great thing just to have. It looks good on your shelf. I'm looking at mine right now. And yours is
jealous.
Right over there. Actually, it's right over here. because it's still there.
Can you pick it up and show it on the camera or not?
Yeah. Hold on. Let me just pop off cameras just a second.
Okay. So I think you could still buy. It was very hard and only through eBay, and you had to pay exorbitant amounts of money. You could still buy the old folders because there were a couple of floating around. But now they did a very, very limited run where they've scanned it all in and made a book. And it was a limited time, limited print run, is my understanding. And we
Yours is
we were willing to pay whatever it cost because it was a limited run. And we're not gonna. It's probably not gonna happen again. So show me.
yours is still in a box. That's the great thing is like they're in individual boxes. So this is mine, but this is.
I'm looking at my computer, but now at the camera. But yes, look at that. It's got the old Bullet logo. I say old, but that's pretty much the current logo again, I think.
So this
look
part,
at it.
this part comes off. Little insert here. Let me open it up. Just for our viewing audience, pick a character, and I'll open up a page.
Am I your viewing audience?
Yeah. What do you want to see?
Hal Jordan.
Hal
Jordan. Oh, Wonder Woman and Hal Jordan. Because let's just be clear for anyone who's watching and they're more modern fans, this is peak DC style guide.
82.
Yeah, this is not what they currently look like. This is how they're supposed to look. Says the old man sitting here.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's the ticket. Is there do they have color pages? I assume they do because it's a style guide.
Yeah. Here we go. There's a lot of Superman. It's like the first page of the character is like color, and then there's a lot of black and white. There's Wonder Woman. Mm-hmm. There you go.
Oh, see that's Wonder Woman right there. Look at that. Oh, that book. You know, I've brought so many the art of fill in the blank books. Mm-hmm. That I'm like, I must have that book. And then it sits on my shelf and it never gets opened because I don't want it to get ruined. Oh, look at that. Yeah. That's the ticket. Wouldn't mind that as a poster, to be fair.
It's beautiful.
Yep. Right. So after this, we're going to organize getting that shipped.
Yes.
It's going to be extremely expensive because I've added so much. It wasn't supposed to be as out of hand as it got. But that's what happens over time. It's like when you move into a house and your life just happens and then you go to move and you've accumulated so much stuff. I moved into Jarrod's house via this box. But when I get it, and because I can't remember everything that's in it by any stretch of the imagination, I'm going to do an unboxing video.
Yes. That's the funny part is you're like, I can't remember what's in there.
Yeah, I know there's some amalgam if I remember correctly because I'm still on the hunt to finish that collection. But man, some Generation X I think as well. Just some random stuff I had as a teenager that I wanted back. Oh, actually, I meant to ask you. This is on the live stream, but it's for you. X-Men. There was an X-Men I got you to buy me. It was an anniversary issue, 350 maybe, Uncanny.
Yeah.
I had a hollow foil cover. It was the one where Gambit turns out to be the bad guy or whatever it was with the Marauders or something. I don't know. When you bought that copy, I found it was ripped, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So do we ever replace that or do I need to find another copy?
I bought it at my local store, Speeding Bullet Comics, I believe.
Oh, a non-ripped copy?
Yeah.
Okay, I must owe you some money. Right, send me a bill with the postage and let's get that over here. I'm going to have it. It's my mission to have it before Christmas this time.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, that's exciting stuff. It's going to be a good unboxing video. I feel like there's a potential to have at least 3 unboxing videos. So if we count that one, then unannounced project, soon to be announced, because I should get those books again, relatively soon. They have to go from the printer back to the UK, then from the UK to New Zealand, but I should still have them before they come out. And then Chase, if that's coming out in November, I should have my copies before then. So potential for 3 unboxing videos. I'm such a social media person, man.
Yeah,
I'll hype up my TikTok if I'm doing unboxing videos.
there you
So
go. So
nice.
I had
All right.
one more thing, and then we'll wrap it up
Yes.
because we're trying to keep it to an hour and
Yep.
a half. I had talked
Mhm.
about this. I am going to announce my social or my latest podcast project. I'm putting this out here to force myself to do it.
Good.
I want to take a look at all the comics from the month that I was born and just keep going. I was going to call it DC in my lifetime. I'm going to start with July 1980, read as many of the books as I can, whether through DC Universe Infinite or through my comic shop, and kind of give an overview of those books. My goal is to start doing that like semi-regularly. And if I get on a good rhythm, I might stop at 1992 when I started reading comics, but we'll see where it goes. But there's so much appeal to that era, 1980, because you're in the Bronze Age. You've still got Silver Age artists. You've still got Earth 1, Earth 2. You've got so much stuff. You get to see the new wave of people like Miller and Byrne and, the Teen Titans come up. So I want to cover the things that make me happy, and that's in comics is what I want to do. So that'll be coming up soon on the Punch the Timeline podcast. I'm also going to start putting audio versions of this on there, and hopefully that translates well. But anyway, if you like old school DC comics like I do, that'll be something to check out.
And you like the soft dulcet tones of Jarrod's
That's right.
radio voice,
That's right.
then what have you got to lose? So
Paid
no,
good
that sounds
money.
really good.
I paid good
I'd
money for
listen to
this
that.
voice. Well, I hope.
You know who
hopefully,
else would listen to that? Brian would listen to that.
I hope so. I haven't heard from him in a while.
He and our other mutual friend Clayton took sabbaticals, and I mean permanent ones. So not sabbaticals; they've just gone from social media. Um, I feel like Brian covertly checks in every now and then, never posts, but he seems to know things that I haven't told him. So I feel like he might pop in under the radar. Clayton, as far as I know, is just apart from he does his podcast, The Weekend Readers. Go check it
Weekend
out.
Readers. Oh my God.
He reviews.
I have that Weekend Readers trailer somewhere. We should play that next time.
It's a good pod. I find that very enjoyable. He reads a book. I think the podcast is every 2 weeks. It's only like 7 minutes long every episode. So what's that going to do to your day? Nothing. So just go listen. And he's not a professional book reviewer by any means, and he's probably watching this. So I'm not going to say anything mean because I genuinely enjoy the show. And he reads a wide variety of books, like seriously, from Marion Keyes to Tolkien to whatever. Like he reads anything. That he'll read the back of a book, so he does judge a book by its back cover. He'll read the synopsis and he'll be like, "Yep, that sounds like something I would read." He reads it and then he comes on and talks about it for 7 minutes. His takes are not always accurate, Wizard of Oz, but generally, it's a very entertaining takes on books. So I just gave him a free plug.
I mean, seriously, the dedication to do that on a regular basis,
dude,
solo
for a long time now.
Solo.
Oh, it's been years.
Yes.
Yeah, solo, and it's been years he's been doing it consistently. I think it used to be weekly, but it went to well, I say fortnightly, every 2 weeks. So, but good on him. That's a lot of books
I
to
think
read.
do you think that Brian and Clayton would like chat with me on WhatsApp? Because I miss talking to those dudes.
I think they would.
All
Oh
right.
no, yeah, Clayton's on WhatsApp. Brian's on Messenger, Facebook Messenger, but he's not on WhatsApp. I'm giving too much away.
Oh,
But yeah, this is inside baseball. Is that
very
what you
inside
call it over
baseball.
there? Yeah, sports. So yeah, it's yeah, I don't see why not. We could even start up a like a Facebook Messenger group with
That
the
would
four of us.
require
We
me
have,
to be on Facebook.
well, no, see, they're not on Facebook anymore. Well, I guess they have to have an account. They never use. They just have it for Messenger. I think you can get Messenger now,
Okay, I'll just
but
do
I don't know.
a
But
shadow one.
anyway, we still have one for the Heritage Film Club, which
Another
is me and Clayton
rest
and
in
Brian.
peace.
Yeah, but that's me, Clayton and Brian, and a different Jarrod.
Australian or
And
New
we
Zealand
still
Jared.
chat every now and then. So so I don't see why not. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Uh, sorry, you were talking about yes, your awesome new podcast. So when are you planning to drop it?
Oh, that would require me to record it. So let's just say in the next 2 to 3 weeks, I will have one out. I will
Oh, nice.
also have my other show, the Duffy Dome. We're going to drop the last episode tomorrow. And
Oh, cool.
then we're going to switch to our new format, new show name, Jarrod and Julie on TV. We will be reviewing Suits LA. So that sounds like I've got all my
Yes.
plugs out. We've got Mike. Mike. Follow all those down there.
Yep.
We'll get the Discord.
Jarrod was just scrolling down there, just so it's not all about me. Jarrod was scrolling.
Well,
I've just now changed it over. Yeah, so yeah, follow me on those places down there. The usual. You're obviously on my YouTube if you're watching, or else you're on my Twitch. So either way, you're on one of them. Yeah, I mean, cool. I might do some streaming. I haven't done any game streaming for a long time now. I started Red Dead Redemption to finally just bit the bullet. I'm just going to throw this in here before we finish. But I wanted to do the prologue before I started streaming the game, because once you're in the game past the prologue, it's open world and you can literally just do whatever you want. You don't have to do the story. And I think that'll make it more fun. Doing the prologue is like you're forced to do all this stuff because you got to learn the game, I guess. So once I get past the prologue, I might start streaming Red Dead, but that'll only be on Twitch because it's not a family-friendly game. And tonight, for all you Fortnite gamers, Chapter 6 Season 2 drops. There's going to be the big update and the big downtime tonight. And we're moving from ninja theme to heist theme, which is not even a segue. It's just like this massive, like, ancient Japan ninja stuff has stopped. And now we're going on to heists. But it means a new battle pass, new characters to earn, and new whinging from my boy about wanting to play more so he can finish his battle pass. I almost made it to level 400 this season, and now it's going to reset to 0 tonight. So it's a big night for Fortniters. So it's going to be cool. But to be honest, I never thought I'd say this in my life. Kind of sick of ninjas. So yeah, I'm glad it's changing. Anyway, again, that's boring for Jarrod, but I thought I'd throw it in there because there might be some streaming coming up on my Twitch.
It was a hot take, and I don't know what any of that meant, but I hope that you excel at whatever that was. This seems like seems like a natural way to end our show.
Sorry, I killed it. Yeah.
So this has been Exit Zero. My name is Jarrod.
It is.
This is Mike.
It is. I'm Mike.
And we thank you for watching. We'll be back. We're not sure when because we might have to skip a week, but
my fault, of course.
Tune in next time.
We'll see what we can do.
This has been
We appreciate you.
Exit Zero. Goodbye. Can I make thumbs? Oh, look at that.
Wow, look at that.
Goodbye, everybody.
I can't do that. So bye.